Hey everyone, it's Hamish from the Young Investors Podcast. Myself and Brandon are excited to bring you your weekly rundown of the latest business and investing news from around the world. Now, a quick reminder before we get into the podcast is that nothing in this podcast should be taken on as personal financial advice. If you're ever unsure about your finances or investing, make sure you reach out to a qualified financial advisor. But with that said, let's get into another episode of the Young Investors Podcast.
All right, everyone, welcome to, we're currently in Denver, Colorado. Yeah, we got here this morning. Very early flight out of Omaha. We were considering recording the podcast maybe yesterday night, but oh my God, we've been so busy. We've been working very, very hard.
It was a bit of a disaster this morning because we had a 6 a.m. flight.
Yep.
So we have to get there at a bit before 5.
Yep.
And we both. I kind of went to bed I tried to go to bed at like 11. Yeah. And then it was like, I think 1 before I actually fell asleep.
Yeah.
So
I was worse. I didn't get to sleep until maybe 2:30, properly to sleep until like 2:30. Yeah. The aircon was just dry. I've got a bit of a sore throat because the aircon was just drying me out yesterday. So it was a little bit annoying. So we're running off very, very little sleep. I don't know. I feel like last year we were pretty good with our jet lag and stuff. I feel like I've been a lot worse this time around. I don't know. Yeah,
this time's definitely been worse for me. Last time, we slept very well on the plane going over, I think. So it kind of fixed our jet lag really well. Whereas this time we didn't really have that. And then, there's just been things we have to wake up at weird times for. I mean, at the meeting, we were waking up, and we'll talk about this, of course, but we're waking up at 3 o'clock. Waking up at 3 and getting there at 4. Yeah. We had the flight today. That was kind of a similar situation. Yeah. So we've kind of been all over the place. We're dealing with jet lag, but we're also not waking up at normal times.
Exactly.
It is what it is. And it's been great. So we're in Denver. We just got here today, but we'll talk about everything we did over the past week in Omaha.
It's pretty crazy to think that we left Melbourne like over a week ago.
Yeah, the last week has just flown by.
It's been
very constant. Busy. We had a lot of different things we did. Yeah. Met a lot of people. And we'll talk all about it, of course, as well as some of the things that Mr. Old Warren and Charlie spoke about at the meeting. So
that's all this podcast is going to be. It's just going to be about our time in Omaha, attending the meeting, and also about the meeting itself. So that should be plenty to keep us keep us going on. It's kind of funny, the meeting. I'm skipping a little bit, but you can definitely tell, like, after last year, I think Warren, when they started the meeting, he answered like 3 questions in like an hour. The first hour was like 3 or 4 questions. It was kind of funny. They came straight out the blocks saying, Warren was like, okay, we're going to answer 60 questions and we got to get through half of them before lunch, so let's go. I think maybe he got a little poke or prod maybe from Becky saying he got to be a bit quicker this year.
They definitely got some feedback on that because he was like, we're going to answer 60 questions. And even halfway through, I think they'd answered like 25 and he was like, we've answered 25, we'll pick up the pace a little bit towards the second session. No, it was very funny. He definitely got the hurry up. But geez, where do we start? I guess we should probably start with our sponsor, of course. And then after that, let's rewind the clock. How far do we go? Do we go all the way back to Melbourne? Yeah, I guess we'll go back to Melbourne. We'll
go back. All right, we'll go back to Melbourne. See, this has all happened so quickly.
Yeah.
It's just been it's been relentless. Like, we haven't slept very much. It's just been go, go, go. That it's kind of all blended in. It kind of just feels like one ongoing day. Like, to me, it kind of feels like Omaha was the week that we had was just one day where we just took little naps every now and again. That's honestly,
we just had little breaks.
Like little breaks where we go shut our eyes and then get back up. Okay. So take a listen to the sponsor bit and we'll see you guys in a second.
Hamish and Brandon's Berkshire Bonanza 2023 is brought to you by Seeking Alpha. Try Seeking Alpha Premium today to access Seeking Alpha's rating system, valuation breakdowns, 10 years of financial data, unlimited news and analysis articles, plus have earnings call transcripts, investor presentations, SEC filings, and press releases all in the one place. With the suite of tools that come with Seeking Alpha Premium, you can be confident no matter what company you're looking at, you'll be able to get up to speed fast. But the best thing about our partnership is if you sign up with our referral link, you can access a 14-day free trial of Seeking Alpha Premium. So go check them out, give Seeking Alpha Premium a go for yourself, and now let's get back to it.
All right, let's get into it, Hamish. So it starts. This is our problem, right? So we started. What day was our flight? Wednesday, Thursday.
Thursday.
So I flew from Canberra on Wednesday afternoon.
Yes.
And I got to Hamish's place in Melbourne on Wednesday night.
Yeah.
And then what we did last year, which worked extremely well to help prevent jet lag, is we stayed up with Tom. This was last year. We stayed up all night. We did not sleep at all. We got on the plane and we went straight out.
Yeah. Worked perfectly.
Yeah.
Perfectly.
Because
and then
you stay up all night. So you're literally so tired when you get on that plane that even if you are terrible at sleeping on planes, you just fall asleep. You're so tired. You can't not sleep.
Yeah. Yeah.
This time didn't work so well. Sorry, I cut you off before.
All I was going to say is it's funny because leaving Melbourne, for those who are unaware of the time zone, you kind of leave at like, you say you leave at like 7 a.m. and you travel on the plane for 12, 14 hours. And then it's still the morning when you get there. Yeah. So you really do need to sleep on that plane ride. If you don't sleep on it, then you're in trouble. You're entirely messed up.
So we left Melbourne at 10, 11 a.m. on Thursday.
Yeah.
And we got to San Francisco at 7 a.m. on Thursday.
Yeah.
So we went backwards in time.
Exactly right. And so, so we decided we'd do the same strategy. We'd try and stay up all night. And we did. We stayed up all night. It was, 26 hours or so.
Yeah.
We were very, I included some clips in my recent video.
Yeah.
We were very, very tired.
Yeah, you should go watch. You should see how tired we look. Go and watch Hamish's recent video because we look so tired.
Yeah. Yeah. So, we were very, very tired. Heading to the airport, we got on the plane and it wasn't great. I had patchy sleep.
I really struggled.
Which, you always have patchy sleep on a plane, but this was like really patchy sleep. Like there was no consistent sleep. Yeah. So when we got there at 7 a.m., it's like we haven't slept not in one day, but 2 days now. Yeah. We haven't slept for, or at least 1.5 days. So
it wasn't the best.
It wasn't great.
So we arrived in San Francisco. So we're Melbourne to San Fran. We were there for a couple of hours. We didn't leave the airport, and then we took the 2-3 hour flight.
Yep, something like
that.
To
Omaha.
Yep.
Yeah. We met Zach on that plane. Zach, he was a great guy.
Yeah.
Really interesting guy. From Australia as well.
Yeah.
Traveling and he was buying businesses back in Australia, buying Anytime Fitnesses. That's a kind of interesting thing. He was telling us he was an electrician he was an electrician, wasn't he? I think.
Yeah, I think
But he
so.
worked in mines. I remember him saying something like that.
Yeah, and then he started buying up F45 gyms, which is really interesting.
After the COVID panic, everybody wants to offload their gyms. So he was buying like F45s it was F45s, not Anytime Fitness.
Yeah.
F45s for like $5,000 or something.
Yeah, that's insane. It's crazy.
Yeah, just monster cash flowing businesses, and because the owners are just sick of it, they're just over the stress because after all the COVID stuff they went through.
Just want out.
So that was really interesting.
Yeah.
I would have liked to talk to him more, but unfortunately, I was literally so tired that I just went
just falling asleep.
I just literally fell asleep and woke up in Omaha. But then. But then we were there, hey?
But then we were there, and then we got there and we were able to have a nice rest in the evening. No, not quite. So we got to Omaha at 4, and we had to be at a barbecue at 5. So we were going straight off this plane. Again, no sleep in like 36 hours, maybe even more than that. Close to 40 hours, no sleep. So we head to the Airbnb. And the drama didn't end there. Should we talk about it?
Yeah, we should tell this story.
Yeah, it's a pretty good story.
It is a bonkers story. I tell it. No, you tell it. I told the last one.
Yeah, so we get to the Airbnb, no problem. Put the code in as normal. Go inside, settle down. We're just trying to have a little bit of rest before we have to jet off to this barbecue. And there's a knock at the door. And I'm like, well, first of all, we ordered some pizza. So we heard the knock and I was like, it's the pizza. So I run downstairs.
Oh, pepperoni, my favorite.
Yeah, it's my pizza. And instead of a pizza guy, it was 2 people with luggage. And they were like, this is our place. And I was like, no, this is our place. No. So we were both kind of wondering, oh no, did they double book this place? And we both kind of pulled up our kind of booking confirmations, and ours was Airbnb, and we'd been given the code and everything, and theirs was on Expedia, and they actually hadn't been given any information on how to get into the place. And we also contacted our Airbnb host, and they were not aware that it was listed on Expedia.
Yeah.
So ultimately what we think happened is someone has just ripped all the photos and the information of the Airbnb listing and scammed this guy with a listing on Expedia, which he actually said as soon as he booked it, the Expedia listing went down, which he thought was a bit suspicious. But he, wasn't too kind of worried about it at the time. But
I felt really bad because like we had the booking and we also couldn't really help them because we needed the space that we had. There weren't extra beds and we needed the space for our recording. So it's not even like, whatever, we like you guys crash on the couch kind of thing.
Yeah.
We literally needed that space because we were making YouTube videos there.
Yeah.
So it was a pretty sad situation, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I hope those guys were okay, but we felt really bad for them too because like it's Omaha on the weekend of the Berkshire Hathaway Shareholder Meeting. Like they then, I think they got refunded for 2 days. So they got $250 USD per day.
Expedia's support was absolutely horrendous. They got 2 days back from Expedia when they booked for 4.
Yeah.
So Expedia has essentially served them up a fake scam listing. I know it wasn't Expedia that did it, but they've allowed it to be on their website without confirming, something to some extent. And they don't even refund them the full
They refund them like half.
let alone find them accommodation in a city. They came all the way from California. So it's, incredibly difficult. And who knows if they even were able to get a place. Everything was fully booked well in advance of the Berkshire meeting that weekend. So
prices for hotels are like triple the price because they know that they're just going to sell them out. Yeah. It's like the one weekend per year where Omaha is just pumping.
So,
so there you go. That was very sad, sad situation, but definitely taught me that, there are definitely still a lot of complicated scams out there. And I mean, I could have fallen for that. That could have been me.
It's kind of interesting because it's not something I'd thought about before, but now I think about it, that's actually the easiest scam that a lot of people could pull off because if you upload... I'm pretty sure if you create an Airbnb listing or something, I doubt they're checking that you have the deed to the property, right? Like they're not going that far to confirm that it's probably your house. I would imagine maybe there is some confirmation. I'm not actually sure. I've never listed a property on there. But it is interesting because you could just kind of, at least it seems like this person did. They just took all the photos in the listing and just put it on a different site. So it is kind of it's a crazy scam that I hadn't even crossed my mind.
Yeah, it is very sad. But I hope those guys were okay in the end. I hope they found somewhere.
I hope so.
But then no time to lose. We had to go straight, so we had to figure this out, which did make us a little bit late, but that's okay.
Yeah.
And then we was straight over to a barbecue for value investors hosted by Matthew Peterson. So I don't know if you did a podcast with Matthew Peterson with Tom last summer in Omaha.
Yeah, it's technically Tom's podcast. It's on the Investing with Tom podcast feed. YouTube channel or Spotify, wherever.
Yeah.
So go check it out if you haven't. Yeah. So we did that last year when he was very nice and invited us into his home in Austin, Texas.
Yeah, very nice.
Which was kind of our second trip or second stop
destination
after the Berkshire meeting last year. But
and you guys might know him if you follow my channel closely. We actually made a video about options trading for not options trading. That makes it sound dodgy. Options. I guess it is. It's options, selling put options for value investors. Using options within a value investing mindset. So we made that video. So you guys might remember that one. But that was really, he's just such a cool guy.
Yeah.
He's just full of, it blows me away how full of energy he is. He's always up for a conversation to anyone. He was just bouncing from group to group, person to person. Hey, what's going on? In that classic Matt Peterson kind of fashion.
Super friendly. Yeah.
So friendly. He's such a friendly guy.
Yeah.
But that was a really good event. We got to hang out with heaps of people. Lots of people that just knew us from Young Investors Podcast, even and our YouTube channels as well. So
I feel like I think there was definitely more people at the barbecue this year. Much more.
There was just more people for everything.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah.
Just the whole weekend, there was just a lot more people, which
Yeah.
we'll talk more about. But yeah, there's a lot of people there. We met, a lot of people we saw last year
Yep.
at the barbecue and kind of those people we'd seen over the weekend. And then a lot of new people, which was great. We got to kind of hang out over the whole weekend, not just at the barbecue, but yeah, with people we'd met last year for the first time and continue to hang out with and have conversations. And then yeah, new people who were there. Some people there just for the meeting, some people who knew us from the podcast or from YouTube. So yeah, it was
a great time.
It was great. Yeah, we did get kind of thrown into it after, and we were exhausted. But but it was great. It was definitely worth going.
And how was the guy? You mustn't leave without taking a couple of bottles of alcohol. This guy, I don't even know the story. Maybe Matt Peterson knows the story behind this a little bit more.
We didn't get a chance to speak to him on what that specifically was. But yeah, this guy apparently told Matt that he, asked Matt, could he bring this kind of alcohol? What was it, like a moonshine kind of alcohol that he was selling? Could he bring some?
It's like his small business.
And just kind of supply some drinks for people there. And
he brought product, man.
Yeah. Well, what did Matt say? Matt said he thought that the guy said Blue Moon, which is a beer.
Oh,
so I think Matt said, yeah, bring some beers. But it turned out it was moonshine. So yeah, we of course we were able to leave with a couple of jars, I guess you would say, not bottles, jars of alcohol.
It was jars of alcohol, yeah, which is kind of funny.
It should be clear when we say moonshine, it's not actually moonshine.
I don't know. It's just like his kind of small bit. I'm not even sure.
I don't know. Like, I guess
we should read the label. I don't actually know.
Yeah, we probably should have checked what was in it before we just drank it.
Oh dear. Anyway, but yes, that was very fun. So we went home with a couple of jars of alcohol, which is quite interesting.
Yeah,
which we still got somewhere. Crack them open sometime.
Yeah.
Okay, and then so that was that. We headed home. Do we have a good sleep? Did you sleep well that night? I can't remember.
Did I sleep well that night? Yeah, I think I slept like a rock that night. Yeah. Because we were exhausted. So
had a good sleep.
That was an easy one.
So we slept. We woke up the next day, had a bit of a lie-in, and then. Next thing on the agenda was we went to Value X, a little kind of mini investing speed round conference where every kind of speaker got 10 minutes or so.
Yeah.
And that was hosted by Guy Spear, which is really cool. And his fund. So we went along to that. We got there a little bit late. We didn't even have
tickets. First of all, so the story behind this was they kind of just they put it together, and they Guy wanted to do something where he could kind of speak more broadly to people.
Yeah.
Last year they did a kind of a meet and greet, and they were kind of saying that not a lot of people got to kind of hear from him because he was kind of cornered talking to just a small number of people. So he wanted to put on more of a broad event. And they put it up on Eventbrite or whatever it was, and it was kind of 270 seats, I think, and 4,000 people in the first 2 hours tried to, and it was free. So of course, there's going to be an enormous amount of demand for it. Yeah. But yeah, it just completely booked out in 2 hours, and we completely missed that. So we were just kind of like, well,
our strategy was we kind of went into the weekend. We knew we had the barbecue. We'd already RSVP'd to that. We knew we had the dinner, which we'll talk about in a second.
Yeah.
But apart from that, we were kind of just like, look, let's just talk to people. Let's see what's going on, because there's heaps of things that you just don't know about. And you just hear from other people, oh, there's a meetup here, there's this, that, there. And we just said, we'll just go in and we'll just find what to do, and we'll just do it as it happens, kind of thing. So that was definitely, we had a chat to Chantal, who is Guy's assistant, and she let us in, which was very kind of her.
Yeah.
Standing room only. We're up the back.
Yeah, we're standing
but
in the back.
That's totally fine by us. It was just good to be there. It was good talking to Chantal, actually. She's great. She's great quality.
She's on top of everything.
Yeah, she's on top of everything. Great personality. Great. Yeah, she's very, very cool. So she let us in, and we got to listen to a fair few speakers.
Yeah.
Anyone of note? We got there for Matt Peterson's speech, where he spoke about the similar stuff to what the video we made on my channel last year, as well as some other stuff, structured dividend capture, which hopefully I'll be able to make a video with him about in the future. Very interesting stuff.
Yeah, I can't remember name. I'm so bad with
bad
names.
with names.
But there was a woman who spoke who sold a company to with Berkshire Hathaway, I believe it was.
Yeah, that's right.
There was a guy who was a photographer who had taken a kind of an iconic
photo of Buffett.
portrait of Buffett on top of the rooftop overlooking kind of the flat city of Omaha, which was really interesting. So there was some really interesting kind of diversity in terms of the types of people the types of conversations being had.
There was the guy that wrote the complete financial history of Berkshire Hathaway so far. What was his name? Adam?
Adam Mead.
Adam Mead. Yeah. He's a really funny guy.
He's great.
He's really cool. Gosh, he's got a brain on him.
Yeah, he's been, you can tell he's been studying Berkshire
for a very, very long time.
Yeah,
that was cool. We had a bit of lunch, and then we also got to listen to the big man himself, Mr. Monish Prabrai.
Mr. Monish Prabrai. He got up there and gave us a few minutes, which was lovely. He also had a brunch a very small kind of brunch thing going on in the morning, which we were not able to go to. I believe that is going to be uploaded on his YouTube channel. I think that's what he said. So.
He did say that. Yeah, he did say that.
Yeah.
That was Value X.
Yep.
And then what do we do after that? Did we head back to the Airbnb for a little bit more rest? I think we did.
We did. So that actually was that was most of the day, actually. So yeah, it started at, Value X started at, what was it, 10:30 or something like that. We got there a little bit late, but then it finished at 2:30 or 3. Right. I think we were just kind of talking with some people at the end, and then you're right. So then we headed back and tried to. So it's kind of interesting because when you timeline it out, you can kind of see there's not really that much dead time, which is good. Like, we were busy, it was great, but it was for a couple of guys who had absolutely barely any sleep,
bugger all sleep.
It was tough.
So we went back, had a snooze.
We did,
and then geared up for. Probably, I don't know. It was just so bonkers that we got invited to this event. It was absolutely bonkers that we got invited to this. Yeah. So I think every year Guy Spear does he hosts a dinner for Aquamarine fund investors or people that are kind of in his close network. And I was super, super lucky that after he agreed to do the interview with me, which is up on the channel and also on the Young Investors podcast feed, he said, "Hey, look, you're in Omaha, I'm in Omaha. Come along to our dinner." I was like, "Are you serious?" Like, yes. I was, look, I'll see if it works out with my schedule. Yes, my schedule. Yes, I'm coming. So that was really cool, and so myself and Hamish got a couple of name tags and we were in.
We dressed up.
We dressed up.
Yeah, we heard all of the complaints last year that we were underdressed. Okay, we were still underdressed because that's just the way we are. But for this dinner, we put some nice clothes on.
We're all good. Yeah, we're all good. So that was great. We met Raj. We met Ruhika.
They were nice.
They were great. Yeah, great quality people. And we actually got to have a bit of a chat to Guy as well.
Yeah,
had a great dinner. Just had a bit of a chat around various circles to different people, and had some good food.
Food was very good.
Yeah, had a couple of drinks and just had a good time.
Yeah,
actually got to meet Guy in person, like properly in person.
That was the first time I'd actually ever spoken to him. So, it was great to finally talk to him. I've spoken to him on Twitter before, and right. You've obviously you did the kind of interview with him, virtually, but it was.
It's good to actually meet these people. Yeah, he's a really down to earth guy. Like the guy you see in interviews is the guy you get just all the time. He's just like that, which is really nice. Yeah. So that was the Aquamarine Fund dinner.
Yeah,
that was Friday night.
That was Friday night.
So we were a bit nervous about staying too late.
Yeah. Yeah, so what time do we kind of finish the dinner?
It was like 10,
it was
10:30.
It wasn't super late, but it was probably 10, 10:30.
Yeah.
But in the back of our mind the whole time we're thinking, we've got to get up at 3:00 tomorrow.
Yeah.
Which we didn't have to get up at that time, but how the Berkshire meeting... We wanted to, for sure. And how the Berkshire meeting works is the doors open at 7, so it starts at 9, but the doors open at 7. However, there is, it's a big stadium. It's a stadium. But we knew that there was probably going to be an enormous amount of people coming. You could just kind of see it around town. You could see it at the barbecue. It just felt as if, you could see people lining up for tickets. It felt as though it was going to be really busy. And if you want to get good seats, even when it wasn't super busy last year, you kind of have to line up a couple of hours early to get a good spot in the line so you get good seats. But it isn't like all that bad because ultimately you get there early. There's a lot of people there. And you get to talk to a lot of people, a lot of cool people.
Yeah, time goes really quickly when you're standing in the line. It actually just flies. Like, when do we get there? We woke up at 3. We got there at 4 maybe.
It was, I think 3:30. It was just before 4 we got there.
Yeah, 4 a.m. So it's like, insanely early. But, we hop in the line and already like people that we've already met, like Digby was already in the line right up the front. The line was very short at that point, but, it was still a couple of people there for sure.
Yeah.
Guy Spear rocked up in the line. We're at the south entrance. So Guy Spear rocked up not too long after that. Monsoon Prabrai. So we had a chat. Monsoon is Monish's daughter. Yeah. So she also runs her own fund now. She's the same age as me, 28, I think. And she's managing megabucks.
It's crazy. Yeah. We're just over here making videos.
Yeah, we're just spitballing on a podcast. And she's, taking investors' money and putting it to work. Holy smokes. Yeah. Jeez. So no, she's kicking goals. She's doing great work. And it was really good to finally have a chat to her as well.
Yes.
But then Guy Spear rocked up. We had a quick chat to him.
Yeah, and then it's interesting because at 4 o'clock there wasn't that many people at that entrance. There was probably maybe 30, maybe a bit more than that, 50 or something like that. But then probably by 4:35 it was very busy.
Yeah,
it seemed like most people decided to come between 4 and 5.
Yeah,
and it was great. We met a lot of people. We kind of. Like Guy Spear, people kind of we were interested in having conversations with, and then there was just a lot of people coming up to us, having conversations with us from YouTube or from the podcast. And you're right. The time was just flying by because it was just, it was super chill and we were able to have kind of lots of easy conversations.
Yeah.
So.
And that's one thing I shouldn't forget. I just wanted to say thanks to everybody that came up and had a chat to us over the weekend. It was flipping mind blowing.
Yeah, it is. It's so surreal. I know I use that word all the time to describe this, and we mentioned this a couple of weeks ago on the podcast. We mentioned it last year after it, but it really is surreal just to put faces and people to some of the numbers we see on the screen because it can be kind of disconnecting sometimes with the work we do. It's just my views were a little bit higher this month, but to actually meet real people who are watching our content is just awesome.
It was also just like the number of people was insane.
Yeah.
Sure, we're in the public eye a little bit, not really, but we're out there. But I go to work every day with the boys back in Canberra. People don't come up to me really and you're that guy from YouTube. No, it's just crazy.
And people aren't coming up to me in my house when I
but you never leave.
But I don't leave.
And I guess you think about it, if we're going to get recognized somewhere, it's probably going to be in Omaha at the Berkshire Hathaway Shareholder Meeting.
I'm trying to think, is there even another place?
No.
I guess there could be another investing kind of conference thing, but I can't even think of anything that would be as perfectly lined up for our audience.
No, nothing yet. So I guess we kind of expected it after last year as well, but I think this year, maybe just more people there, maybe our channels have grown a bit. It was just on another level. We just spoke to so many people. The thing that blew me away, which made me feel like I get imposter syndrome at the best times, but the thing that blew me away is that in the break during the meeting, Monish Prabrai was just standing over there. And sure, there are heaps of people wanting to talk to Monish, but there was also a bit of a couple of people crowding around trying to talk to us.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's like, guys, what are you doing? Don't talk to. Look, he's right there. He's right there. Look, Guy Spear, Monish Prabrai, Matt Peterson, they're all here. Go this is mind blowing, but it was great to talk to everyone. It was really really cool. Everyone's got cool stories. Everyone's come from different places around the world. met people from the Netherlands, from Belgium, from the UK,
Germany. I'm trying to think of others. The UK.
So many places. A guy from New Zealand. A lot of people that come from obviously various places around the US.
There's a lot of Australians.
There were a lot of
surprising amount just for how far the journey is.
Yeah.
It's awesome. It was great.
Yeah.
But it's very surprising. I don't think. Did we even meet any Australians last year? I can't really remember. Maybe a couple.
One or two,
but it was
not that many.
It did seem like there was a lot. And every time we would tell people, "Oh yeah, we're Australian," they would be like, "There's a lot of Australians here." They'd noticed it too.
Yeah,
which is really interesting.
Yeah, the Australian crowd was strong at the meeting. But yeah, so we were meeting people all throughout the meeting, standing in the line, and while we're standing in the line, we finally, come on, we got to chat to Monish Prabrai. We got him.
We finally got him. We cornered him. No,
we locked him down. Countless emails.
Yeah.
That's okay.
No, it was great. And we actually got to talk to him for a long time.
We got to chat to him for like 10, 15 minutes.
Which was crazy because, we're like, I don't know if we're like overly polite or something. Like we don't like pushing like a conversation. Like we're not the type of person to be like, and just pushing on someone's conversation and just, try and drag conversations away. But, that's kind of the nature of a lot of Monish's conversations. That's just how it is. Like there's a lot of people trying to talk to him. So when he came to us, we were very fortunate that we actually had a good amount of time where nobody was really trying to steer the conversation or anything. So
it was really, really cool. So we just had a good conversation with him. I don't know if I can talk about we had a chat. We'd love to do a collaboration with Monish.
Yeah, we can't talk about all of the stock tips, the awesome stock tips that we got.
Yeah, it was crazy. He'd actually been to a dinner with Bill Gates.
I was going to say,
while we were at the dinner for Aquamarine, he was wining and dining with Bill Gates. So that's pretty phenomenal.
Yeah, and what was he saying? He was saying he was asking Bill Gates buy and sell on a bunch of different stocks.
Yeah.
So we know all of Bill Gates's
we know
trades.
We know Bill Gates, what his thoughts on the stocks
are. We know what he wants to buy.
That's pretty funny. He's biased maybe because of Microsoft and stuff, but he did say the one thing that Monish took away from it that he told us is that he definitely thinks Bill thinks that Microsoft is too far ahead in AI and Google just won't be able to catch him.
Yeah, that is what he said. Yeah, that Google won't be able to catch him. So
I'll have to do more digging on that.
Interesting.
Yeah, very, very interesting. Okay, Hamish. But with that said, we finally got in. Found our seats, and then waited a little while, talked to a couple more people, and then the meeting itself. Hey, the meeting actually started,
and it was good, as you said. Last year it kind of it dragged on a little bit at the start. And there was some interesting topics. There always is interesting topics last year, but there wasn't a whole lot of depth, I think, of different interesting topics, just really. Whereas this year, there was a lot covered. Current events, banking, AI, a bunch of other things. No crypto. Thank you, CNBC.
Yes.
Thank you for not asking another
question about crypto.
It's just, what was last year that they asked him again about Bitcoin, and it was 20-minute monologue.
It's the same stuff. We've heard it a million times before. So.
But anyway, we got a lot of different topics. Maybe we'll
let's go through a few. So that's kind of our journey to get to the Berkshire Hathaway Shareholder Meeting, and I guess we've got about 25 minutes left in the podcast, Hamish, and we can't go over, unfortunately, because of card space. So I have to remember that. So for the next 25 minutes, we'll kind of just take you through our thoughts on the meeting, what was discussed. I mean, obviously, probably a lot of you guys have listened to the meeting already. It's just up on CNBC's YouTube feed, so you can just go and watch it if you like.
Yep.
I think for me, and we don't have to harp on about this too much, we should, I guess, get through the topics quite quickly. Definitely, I feel like the single topic that was given the most time or the most questions was definitely about the banks or the banking crisis. But then again, I don't know if I want to go into this too much because Buffett also did a 2.5-hour interview with CNBC just a few weeks ago when he was over in Japan. And he basically laid out his entire rationale and thought process behind the bank crisis. Yeah. But yeah, what did he say about the banks? He basically said that, he's disappointed in the way that the banking crisis was conveyed to the public.
Yeah.
He basically blamed, politicians with, their own interests in stirring kind of propaganda and misleading people.
Yeah.
He kind of blamed the media as well for hyping it into something bigger than what it was. Because with banking, like, he was talking about how, there's a select few banking institutions that went bust, but with banking, it's very psychological. So if you get enough people that are genuinely freaking out and are standing in line trying to withdraw their money, then you do have a crisis. Yeah. There can be literally nothing wrong with the banking system, and you can be in a crisis just if enough people are convinced to go and withdraw their money from the banks at the same time.
Yeah. I think the exact quote he said is, "Fear is contagious."
Fear is contagious,
and that's what makes banking different from other industries. If one, I've said this before, but if Foot Locker is going bankrupt, it doesn't really change your buying habits for shoes. Like it doesn't make you fear buying a Nike shoe, right?
Yeah.
But if a bank goes out of business, then it could make, it makes people think, well, should I be worried about my money? But I think, it is interesting. It was only, a select number of banks that ultimately collapsed. But more importantly, nobody has lost any deposits. The only people who've lost are the investors. Which when you look at it, it's investors who invested in and selected a management team essentially and that management team made some bad decisions. But as long as the depositors don't lose money, then that is the most important thing.
Yeah, and they were talking about Warren was talking about, of course, the FDIC says the first 250,000. Sure, that's what it says in the rule book, but at the end of the day, just logic to Buffett says that no one is going to lose any money. He was saying do you want to be the politician that stands up in front of the nation and says, actually, we're not going to back all of SVB's deposits and we're going to, what did he say? Cause catastrophic consequences to not just the US banking system, but of course that extends to the global banking system. Yep. So it's like that was never going to happen. So it was interesting hearing his thoughts on that. Did he say anything else about the banks? He blamed a couple of people.
He spoke specifically about First Republic, which was the recent one that collapsed. It was interesting. He said you could have seen it in their 10K. So he kind of reiterated what he said in the Tokyo interview, which is that he actually kind of saw this happening, that banks were getting greedy and they were hiding these unrealized losses. And in SVB's case, it was unrealized losses on long-term government bonds. And in First Republic's case, it was a lot of these, what did he say, non-government guaranteed mortgages. So these super, America has these super long-term fixed rates, 20 years, 30-year fixed mortgages. And again, they kind of trade down when interest rates go up. They trade down at a lower price on the mortgage-backed securities market. So if there is a bank run, they can't sell them for the full value. We spoke about that, I think, last week or the week before. So maybe we won't kind of spend too much time rehashing the
it was interesting just hearing him say he specifically addressed why he sold out of the bank stocks, and he was saying the management, there's room for mismanagement and room for hiding things from managers, which he doesn't like. But what was he also saying? I had one more. He just doesn't believe that bank stock performance can be accurately predicted anymore. He was just saying, look, banking, he was basically saying bank stocks are going to be affected by, global events that we can't predict. They're going to be affected by politicians, misleading the general public. It's going to be affected by the general public getting scared and having sudden actions. So he was basically saying that part of the reason that he sold the bank stocks is he just doesn't believe that, Warren Buffett's approach. He wants to be able to model where he thinks the business can be in 10 years. I think he said something like, this is related to TSMC, but he was saying I can tell where Apple's going to be in 10 years. I can't tell that with TSMC. And he could have easily said the same thing about the banks. I think he just can't quite generally. I mean, he still holds Bank of America as his second largest position, but generally speaking, he probably just can't accurately guess where the rest of those banks will be in 10 years. So he's sold out.
Yeah.
All right. Pick another topic, Hamish. What else did he cover?
Another topic. There was a number of questions on AI and robotics. People interested in kind of whether AI will impact on society, but also specifically whether it impacts value investing. Munger basically said he's personally skeptical of all of the hype. I probably agree to that to some extent. I think it's been interesting watching, people maybe potentially overestimate at least what things like ChatGPT can do now. It's certainly exciting. As again, it's like ChatGPT and these algorithms are kind of a window into what's going to be possible as these technologies develop. But at least for now, it's I think there's some use cases, but.
Yeah,
there's at least some hype.
Yeah, there's definitely hype. It's like the investing world's been taken by storm the last 6 months. It's everything. It's the only thing that people want to talk about. But yeah, I can definitely understand that there's absolutely some hype. I mean, some of the hype might be justified, but it's just so early that we don't know.
Yeah. Buffett said it can't tell jokes. That was his biggest takeaway. It can't tell jokes.
I think his thinking behind AI was that, and this is what he said in the interview, is that it won't replace how people act and think. Yeah. So he was like, look, honestly, there's probably not going to be too much change in what he does based on AI, because at the end of the day, like maybe there's going to be some AI trading patterns or something that'll take over the market. But at the end of the day, market volatility and stock price performance is just psychological movement patterns, really. It's investors buying, it's investors selling, it's getting swept up in irrational greed or fear. Yeah. And he was saying, look, at the end of the day, AI is not going to change the way that people act.
Yeah.
So,
and a lot of Buffett's investing style isn't purely quantitative. It's qualitative. He spoke a number of times about how, the biggest part or a large part of his success has been in understanding consumer behavior, whether it's buying See's Candy or Apple, and how, he even spoke about the idea that it was more important for him to understand consumer behavior than even understanding the technicalities of the business. And that in some cases he doesn't understand the technicalities. With Apple, he doesn't understand how the phone works per se, but he understands how people behave around it. He was kind of saying, people spend $1,500 on an iPhone and they'll spend $35,000 on a second car. But if you ask them which one they would give up first, it would be the car. And that's kind of it is quantitative in some respects, but it's also just recognizing a pattern of, well, people pay, $1,500, but the value of it is so much higher. And that's that drives
iPhone
people
use
to
is
continue
sticky.
to use it. Yeah, very, very sticky. Exactly right. So that was interesting to hear him say that, and it kind of does relate to what he was saying about AI. He said, when something can do all kinds of things, I get a little worried because I know we won't be able to uninvent it. And he kind of related it somewhat, but not entirely, to the atom bomb in World War II, which he said was kind of this important development in order to win the war.
Yeah. However,
is it going to be good for the next 200 years? Probably not, because it's changed dramatically kind of geopolitical relationships between different countries. So.
What else did he talk about? He talked about TSMC. You know how he Berkshire Hathaway bought, this is a couple of quarters ago, bought in a massive stake in TSMC, which is Taiwan Semiconductor, largest chip manufacturer in the world by a long way, very dominant chip manufacturer. They're the ones that basically, Apple tells them what chips they want to make, and then TSMC actually goes and does the work. So he spoke about context. He bought a massive stake in TSMC and then turned around and sold it in the next quarter. And he finally explicitly said that, he just doesn't feel comfortable investing in Taiwan anymore with the tensions between China. That kind of sparked, and like this is obviously we knew that was going to be the reason behind why he sold, because Buffett doesn't trade, so that was obviously going to be the reason. But it's nice to actually hear it from the man himself. But that kind of then sparked a bigger debate about investing in China, of which Warren basically says he's just not super confident with it. He's just going to avoid that kind of region. He's basically just going to stick to the US. It's easier. Charlie, he kind of refrained from commenting, really. He just says, what I think, what I think? I think Buffett should be able to do what he wants. And that's all he said. I thought he was going to go on a rampage. I think it's overblown. I like China. Yeah, blah, blah, blah. But he just didn't. He just refrained.
Yeah, Munger's much more comfortable investing in China. And I think I don't think people should view Buffett, with, selling Taiwan Semiconductors as a view that he thinks China's going to go on and infringe on Taiwan or anything like that. I think it's more of a reflection of he doesn't know. It's an uncertainty.
Yeah.
And that's exactly how Buffett invests. He likes investing in areas. Yeah, exactly. He doesn't want to lose money. And that's kind of a situation where you could say, you don't really know what's going to happen. It doesn't mean that he now thinks that is what's going to happen, that China's going to go in there and take over Taiwan. But if you don't know, then, you shouldn't invest there. You can invest somewhere else where you do have a little bit more certainty.
Yeah. Fair enough. Can we talk about Activision Blizzard as well? That was another stock that he explicitly spoke about. Because so for those that don't know, Microsoft wanted to acquire Activision Blizzard. That was pending regulatory approval, and that regulatory approval did not come. So
all I was going to say is, and while that was kind of pending, Buffett through Berkshire Hathaway invested in Activision, and it was essentially what's called a risky arbitrage.
Yeah, merger arbitrage.
So he was able to buy the stock. Because there was still uncertainty about whether it'll get regulatory approval, he was able to buy the stock below this actual sale price. So there's kind of a gap you would make there.
Yeah. So he didn't say what he's done with the stock, because essentially Activision Blizzard is, they're trying to be I'll try that again. The deal is trying to be blocked by the FTC and also the UK regulators as well. That's some pretty new information. So it seems like that whether that deal gets done is looking less and less likely.
Yeah.
So Buffett was basically asked, hey, what are you going to do with the position? He said, I'm not going to tell you. But he basically said, if you do look into the 10Q, which we filed this morning, you can probably figure it out. But, so I don't think he can figure it out, but you can see that it's possible that he has sold, because he sold, I checked it, and he sold $9 billion worth of securities in the last quarter, and the stake in Activision was worth about $4 billion. Yeah. So it's entirely possible that he's ditched that stake. The vibe I got, and this is not confirmed at all, but the vibe I got listening to him, it sounded like he probably sold.
Yeah,
that's what do you think?
Yeah, the way he answered it, it's kind of like when someone says, well, I refuse to answer, but in a way sometimes
I can neither confirm nor deny.
Yes, in a way it's sometimes that kind of confirms, because if he hadn't sold it, I would imagine he would have just said he hadn't sold it.
Yeah.
Because he has done that from time to time. So, we don't know for sure, but the way certainly the way that he said it indicated immediately to both of us that it's at least possible that he's sold it or sold a portion of it. So, but we'll find out pretty soon. Actually,
it's like a week away.
Yeah, so in a few days we'll get the 13F filing, and we'll see.
We'll see. Yeah, very exciting. Yeah. All right, what's another topic that that you found that you took away from the Berkshire meeting?
Yeah, this is kind of a smaller nugget, but we every now and then we still get some good questions about investing principles and philosophies and that sort of thing. And there was a question about diversification and whether Apple was becoming too large of a position. I think the person asking the question said that, Apple is now over 25% of Berkshire's portfolio, which if you're looking at just the equity portfolio, then it is a very large, I think it's like 40% of the equity portfolio.
From the 13F. So not including international. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So, but, that was how the question was posed.
Yeah.
And Munger's one line response was, I think he's out of his mind if he thinks that position is too big. And then, Buffett, of course, gave a little bit more color. One thing he said to remember is that, Apple, while it is a very large part of the equity portfolio, as a part of the overall Berkshire assets, which includes wholly owned businesses, which you kind of should think of in the same, as all part of the Berkshire portfolio, then it's not actually that big of a position.
Yeah.
But regardless, Munger kind of went on to say that even if Apple was a very, very large piece of the assets, it doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
He basically said, if you only have 3 good ideas, you'd rather own those 3 good ideas than have those and a bunch of bad ones, which is generally what people who are looking for diversification do. They invest in 30, 50, 100 different companies, and a couple of them they are really confident on, and the rest they're much less confident on. So
it's kind of like his thinking is like, why would you put any money into your 20th best idea?
Yeah.
It's like, yeah, that makes sense. You wouldn't. But yeah, it was very interesting. And it's, I guess, going back to specifically Apple being 39% of the US equity portfolio, I think people have to remember that what is Berkshire Hathaway? Really, Berkshire Hathaway as a business, it's not anything. It's just like it was a textile manufacturing business in 1965. And since then, they've just gone through the process of slowly but surely buying other businesses.
Yeah.
That's what, like, Berkshire Hathaway. What does Berkshire Hathaway do? Nothing. It just holds other businesses, holds insurance businesses. It holds the railroad business, Berkshire Hathaway Energy, a collection of energy businesses, and then various other seeds, candies, and whatever like that. And then on top of that, they've got their equity portfolio. So all the ones like the insurance business and the railroad and Berkshire Hathaway Energy, they're just businesses that Berkshire owns completely. So it's not listed in they don't have a 10% equity position. They bought it.
Yeah.
So it gets absorbed into their company. So it becomes a part of their company.
Yeah.
So that's what Buffett was saying. He's like, well, you think about it. We've just the whole time we've been doing this thing, me and Charlie, we're just buying businesses. Yeah. So don't think about Apple as being 40% of our portfolio. It's not. It's one part of a monster company which has a million different businesses kind of attached to it. So,
yeah. And the other thing he said, which was interesting, which was Apple, the thing is, you should think of wholly owned businesses and pieces of businesses the same, except the good thing about the pieces of businesses is they can continue to buy more of them if they want to. They only own, I think it was 5% of Apple, 5%. Whereas they already own 100% of See's Candy, and they'd love to own more of See's Candy.
They can't.
They can't. You can't own 200% of it. So that was kind of the interesting thing was, with the equities, that's the benefit is, if it's a really good company, they can own a small piece of it and they can increase that piece over time.
Saying why would we want to limit ourselves to owning a company like Apple? Because he basically said, because if you look at it, Apple's a better business than, Berkshire Hathaway Energy. It's a better, business than the railroad. Like, why would they want to stop themselves from buying that business and add that partial ownership to the Berkshire Hathaway umbrella, I guess? All right, Hamish, what else should we talk about? We've got about 6 minutes, so we can probably do maybe 1 or 2 more topics, and then we can bounce out of here.
Yeah, there was a question kind of later in the session about the whole US debt situation and this whole idea of de-dollarization, which is kind of this potential threat to the US as being the reserve currency in the world, with China and some other countries potentially looking to not use the US dollar as much for global trade. Really interesting question. Buffett kind of said, I see no option for other currency to be the reserve currency. And he ultimately said that in terms of how Jay Powell at the Federal Reserve is handling the monetary policy situation with inflation, that sort of thing, he said that no one understands the situation better than him. So Buffett's pretty confident that the Fed is, doing the best that they can ultimately to maintain the stability of the currency. And it's one of those interesting topics that I guess we'll just see, how it plays out. But ultimately, you'd just hope that the Federal Reserve can, not let the US dollar fall out of favor, because it's been, such a strong and good, world reserve currency for such a long time.
Yeah. Yep. Agreed. I don't think I have anything to add on that topic. They spoke about Elon Musk. There's a topic I can go on with.
Yeah.
It's kind of interesting though. Like there has been a bit of a media narrative that there's some beef between like Warren and Charlie and Elon. I don't know, because there was a little like friendly competition where I think Warren said to like publicly, "Oh, I don't think Elon's great, but I don't think he could compete with this in candy." And then Elon was like, "You what, mate? You tempt me?" But that kind of died down. But there's kind of been this ongoing media narrative. And I think Elon's kind of bought into it a little bit. He's kind of been duped by the media into giving comments on like Charlie Munger and stuff. But it was interesting to hear. They basically said that there's no beef and that essentially their just approaches are different. I never really thought about that. Like Elon is more of like a bet the company kind of guy. Like pick the hardest possible thing you can do and then just work really hard to try and make it happen. And to his credit, he's done that, you know, SpaceX, Tesla, etc. And Warren and Charlie basically said that is not the way we want to run a company. We want to try and they essentially said we want the low-hanging fruit. You know, we want the easy stuff. We don't want to work hard. We just want to find the easiest, most profitable, perfect businesses and then we'll take those ones. So I don't want to try and get to Mars. You know, I just want to sell more chocolate bars.
What Buffett said something funny. It was like, I wouldn't want to make that many mistakes. Or
Munger. Sorry. Yeah.
Or did Munger say that? Which I thought was funny. It is.
I don't know if we can deal with that much failure.
It is two completely different, just end-to-end approaches to business, which is.
But there's definitely a lot of respect from Warren and Charlie to Elon. That was quite apparent. Even though they kind of jab him, being like, "What are you doing? You're working so hard for all these crazy businesses and taking massive leaps. You can just sell chocolate bars and it's easier." But there's definitely a lot of mutual respect, I think.
Yeah, for sure.
Anything else, Hamish?
I think that's the main.
I've ticked off all the things that I really took away from it.
As I said, there was there was a few other smaller topics, but those were the main ones. It was definitely probably one of the most interesting Berkshire Q&A sessions I've seen in like a couple of years. Obviously, we've only been to the two live, but I've been kind of watching.
They covered a lot of topics.
Yeah, they've covered a lot of topics, and even in previous years, it's not been as broad, which is good to see. Yeah,
they got through a lot of questions. There's so much we haven't touched on. I definitely recommend you guys go and watch it. You'll get a lot out of it. Monish Babrai, he said he put them all on a Bluetooth speaker. A waterproof Bluetooth speaker, and no, he didn't say that to us. He said this in a previous talk, and he puts them on in the shower. So he's got like 5, 6, 7 minutes a day where he just listens and he just goes through them all the way from way back in time. But definitely recommend you go watch them. Great value investing resource. But with that said, guys, we are going to bounce out of here. Go and get some food, maybe. Go and have a little snooze. But once again, thanks very much to everybody that we met over the weekend. It was a really, really good weekend. We had a great time. Thanks for coming up and saying hello. And hopefully you got a lot out of this podcast as well. Make sure, next year, come along, come and meet us at the Berkshire meeting and have a good time. But with that said, guys, we're going to sign off. So thank you very much for watching, and we'll see you guys in the next episode.
See you guys.